showing up properly here. I'm thinking I'm gonna switch gears. And I was gonna do Troubadour, but I think I'm just in the mood. I don't care about course conditions here. What tees do you want me to play? Oh, it doesn't really say. I think just based on the mood that I'm in right now, I am going to go to Lake Sofia instead. I'm going to hit ones that people keep talking about. And I'm just going to warn you guys ahead of time. I have not played this. I don't... Wow, maybe I should search correctly for the right name. Lake Sofia. I thought that's what I put in there. Oh, I spelled it with a PH. I'm smart like that sometimes. I'm intelligent. Well, I show 0 viewers. Is anybody coming back? Are we back on? Are we back online? Says we are. Anyway, I'm going to warn you guys ahead of time. I am not a sucker for a lot of the things that I saw in the... Oh, hang on. I need to change this conditions back to default. No, honey, I'm not looking at you right now. I'm busy. Well, hang on. I want to make sure we're back up and running. I'm going to get on Twitch really fast. Good, then you should leave it on there. Well, put it on your neck. That sounds good. Do it. No, we're back up, so. All right, just nobody in the house yet. Oh, now we got 5 in the house. All right. Now we got 5. Sorry, Twitch just was not updating properly. We're going to switch. We're going to go to Lake Sofia. Just because I had an enjoyable first round there, and I wanted, and this is meant to be a positive. I wanted to come into this one feeling good. Just because I had a feeling that I could get kind of grouchy when I looked at the pictures. I'm like, I could get really grouchy on this course. And I was right. This is all really lovely. I guess that's just the chipping area. I don't... Maybe they got limited ball flight. I don't know. Rock work here I'm not really a big fan of. But that's okay. I could see why some of the better players would be a fan of this course so far. I'm wondering if the surrounds on the tee boxes is consistent. Doesn't have to be, I'm just wondering. The autumn theme or the harvest theme is a hard one to pull off well. Just because the plants and grasses, they don't lend themselves to blending really well sometimes. So 447 yards. We got a tight landing area. We've got a small green. Oh, we've got some nice elevation dropping way down into the valley down there, which is cool. See, I feel like we're trying to, and this is not saying that he was attempting to try this, I'm just saying it looks as though somebody attempted to try to pull off a little Arctic Fury, but just wasn't able to quite capture the same scale. The bunkering is okay. We definitely use a little sculpt work over here on some of it. That is a tough green for a hole of this length. Honey, I've asked you to leave me alone for a few. Would you do that, please? No, you don't. Hang on a second, guys. So the reason she had to talk to me was to ask me, how do we relax our fingers so that they're just floppy? Because I don't know how to relax my fingers till they're floppy. Drastically, very important thing. All right, I don't have a problem with blind tee shots. I'm wondering again about the entrance to this fairway. I don't understand that. Unless it was meant just like I can't see it. I can't play to it. I'm downhill. So if I've got a stiff wind into my face, like where exactly am I, what am I doing? I don't care for this hole at all. I told you I wanted to be in a good mood for this one because everybody was blowing smoke up this guy's ass. And I love you, Sindra. You do good work. I like some of your earlier stuff better, but I don't like that hole. And that's okay. I don't have to. I'm not a judge anyway. Yeah, I feel like these bunkers could use a little sculpting help. We've definitely got a little bathtubby here. And one thing I think that would do you some good here is everybody wants their fingers to stand out really high. You don't need to. Go ahead and let them droop down in a little bit and then just bump them up in the center, and you'll get a better use of shadow too. The shadows will help out a lot. I think let the lighting do a lot of the work. Like you can sculpt a little less and let the lighting do some of the work. Right here, you didn't quite, you see how the light plays right there? You didn't quite get the sand. If you had added just a little more sand right there, that lighting would be fixed because it's reflecting funny. Same right here. It's reflecting funny because of the way the textures are overlapping. But from a technical standpoint, definitely a little work could be done on the bunker sculpting here. I'll tell you what, it is lovely, especially, I mean, it's a fantasy course. It 100% is. And there were no stipulations about fantasy or realism. So, I mean, you do the thing, man. What I mean there, no, not that the fingers are too small. Sometimes that can have an effect. Sorry, I was reading your comment, just smashed that putt. What I mean is, depending on whether brushes or splines were used on that bunker, they look like brushes were used in that, how can I say this? The sand textures are overlapping between two brushes or between splines that are getting close together. And when they overlap on the edges, for some reason the light mapping doesn't treat that overlap as being sand. It treats it as being like bunker lips. And you need to get the sand more centered in there. I don't have a really good way to describe it. I hope that's making sense, but I've run into it before. Have we quadrupled or tripled? We've tripled the wall here, which is, I still say, a good option for anybody doing retaining wall. Don't use just one. Go ahead and double or triple or even quadruple it up. But don't be afraid to layer those. You'll have better results in the end. That ought to turn out all right. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. It looks like sand, but there's two brushes that are overlapping, and It just doesn't treat the overlap, even though it looks like sand, it doesn't treat it like sand. Why? I have no idea. This is a good looking tee shot. I like this tee shot. I think the rock work over here could have been a little better, a little more natural, but from the tee it looks pretty good. I'm wondering how much you can really bite off of this one. Oh, you can do some work here. This is going to go poorly, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yep, a 95%er. That'll go good. Go in the bunker. Thank you. See how poorly this can go. Hey, about that poorly. I will tell you, you've done a lot of work here. This was not a short hour course here. This took some doing. Hey, there's just 75%, not quite, whatever. Definitely a lot of time sunk into this one. And you've accomplished the look you're going for. I'm not a fan of surrounding all of the tee boxes this way. It is a way to give it a certain look, but I feel like it generally works against you in that you have to angle the ground in such a way that you end up hiding things. Yeah, PS4, exactly. This is a good looking tee shot though. How downhill is this? That'll be fine. Now, while this is unrealistic, I do like the idea of this. I've tried to do something like it before with stones. Even on Old Tom's Ferry, I did a little of this, especially on hole 2, and one other one that I don't remember off the top of my head. Doing it with retaining wall is a little different. It's very artificial, but that's okay. There are artificial courses out there. I mean, look at where they played the Ryder Cup last year. That is a pretty stinking artificial course. But that is 100% okay. I like the drasticness of that green. I'm wondering what that front pin would look like at the end. I think that'd be a lot of fun. This hole would be a lot of fun at tournament play. Oh, stay there. May be surprising, but I think this is my favorite hole so far. Like I said, I don't generally dig artificial, but it plays well. That'd be a fun hole to play 4 times in a tournament round. I'd get a kick out of that. There's a lot of different things you could do there. See, this is 486 on the card, but it's a short enough hole. I think you can get away with what you're doing here. I don't know that I would even have included this up here, though. Like, this is no safer than over here, is it? Really? I mean, there's no safety to be had here. And does it add anything visually? I don't know. I think just the bunkers would have been enough. But there's really no reason at all to even play with going over there. Well, I guess your angle coming to the green is a little different, but I don't know why anybody wouldn't just club down and hit it over here. Just checking something for myself here, if I can find it. Yeah, okay, good. I will say too, your planting around the water is is better than what most folks have done, simply because you're not getting too repetitive. You almost do in a couple of spots, but it's kept fresh enough as you go around the outside that it doesn't become copy paste, which, as you know, is a pet peeve of mine. This is too much club, but I'd rather be long. Or maybe it's not enough club. Nope, it was. Okay. That's an enjoyable approach. That's a fun hole. I just say on that first part of the fairway, I don't think you needed to extend over to the left at all. I think you could have done, you could have brought in something a little more visual, because there's really nothing over there that would make you go that way. Again, the bunker sculpting could be better, especially with your fingers. I think that's something to work on going forward. I don't think I want to be aimed quite that far out, do you? Is that enough? Yeah, I guess so. And hopefully I'm giving you some constructive stuff here, because it's just not my style, but I can appreciate it for what it is. Those first couple holes didn't do much for me. The last two or three have been much better. The old curved bridge. I like curved bridges. See, here I like what you've done. You've enclosed the entire tee area as opposed to just each individual box. I like that better. I think having the bathroom kind of back out of the way would have been a better choice, but it's okay. We can, we can watch people come out with toilet paper stuck to their feet. This definitely took some work. And I like the fact that you've got water along the side. I wish there were a better way to pull off what you did there, but you've done a good job, so kudos. Kudos on that. All the kudos I have, because that's hard to do. So, well done. And I normally, in some holes I might complain about the closeness of the fairway here, but you've done it in a way that it's visually appealing. I think that had these bunkers, I don't know, I think I would have taken the one on the left a little further to the left, but that's okay, neither here nor there. How much elevation are we talking? Quite a lot. Interested to see where this ends up. Yeah, that's about what I figured it was going to hit right there. So that's definitely a demanding tee shot. It's a short par 5, but it's all uphill, and you've got the green separated, which I like on this hole. I think having the green kind of set over there by itself is a good call. I think you could have, and should have even, you couldn't take this down, but I think this green could have been a little higher, set back away from the water just a little bit, and raised up, oh, a good 8 feet anyway. I think would have given you a better approach. Hit the pin. Hit it. It's still a fine, I mean, it's a fine hole. It limits the tee shot a little bit, which I'm okay with. And like I said, the approach I think would have been better had the green been higher. A lot of work was done on this hole, but I think I like the last few holes better. Why don't I just crush it right through the break? That's the way I do it. Or I could hit it with the right speed and the wrong line. That's good too. Either way, you miss. Haven't seen any comments from the peanut gallery. Y'all just sitting there and watching. All right. That particular rock wall annoys me. But again, that's a personal thing. I think that bunker could have been brought up without it causing any problem at all on this hole. Yes, it's a short hole. Again, we've got some fingering that's not great. It's a little better here than it was on those few holes previously. How much can we bite off of this? Probably right there, I would think. Is that what this one's supposed to be? A drivable par 3? Let me look here. Well, what you do is first you have to dial up a tornado. That's step 1. Step 2 is play from a closer tee box. Hang on, I'm looking through here. Where are our required elements? I don't see a drivable. Oh, he does. 16 and 9 depending on wind. Well, he does say depending on wind. However, it's uphill 23 feet. Well, see, B101, I'm going to hit your points here. It looks amazing. I think that's subjective. I don't think it looks amazing. I think it looks interesting. It looks cool. I wouldn't say amazing. The creativity is silly good. Again, I don't know that I'd go that far because what he's done is really just surround a lot of things with other things. There are some creative holes, but I've seen more creative. No 2 rounds will feel that different. I would agree with that because it really is a shot placement course that there's not a lot in the way of option. There are options, but there's not good options. There's where you should go and where you can go if you're not that great. A stupid amount of skill with technical stuff. Some technical stuff. To me, he's got technical skill with, I mean, look at this overhead. Creating shapes, he's very good at. Doing some retaining wall work, he's good at. Using the water, he's good at. And yet, I would consider bunkers to be more technical, and those have not been stellar. I would consider doing some of the rock work would be technical, and that has not been stellar. So I would take issue with all of those things. I am in no way saying this is a bad course. It is great. It is wonderful. It'll be a lot of fun. People will play this on tours, and they will enjoy it. I think that it's designed for competitive rounds. But I wouldn't go as far on any of those things that you just said. Yeah, I guess but I mean, I had a 12-mile-an-hour wind, and I wasn't going to go for this. There's no way I was going to go for this. So I don't know how drivable it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I should have done something different, and that's fine. I think this one was depending on the wind. I think 16 is supposed to be drivable pretty much all the time. And B101, you tell me, or Big Smooth or whoever, tell me if the things I just said were too harsh, because I don't think they are. I think he shows skill in areas where other people struggle, and that's why it's perceived to be better than it is. Like there are a lot of people who would struggle to put rocks on the side of the hill that way, because that's the best rock work I've seen on the course is right there. But there are a lot of people who would struggle with that. There are a lot of people struggle with retaining walls. There are a lot of people who struggle with, hey, I'm going to build a fountain. There are a lot of people, like with that bridge right there, there are a lot of people who would struggle to make a bridge look that way. In those things, he's done quite well. By the way, I think this is the best looking tee shot I've seen on the course. This area on the left is pretty horrendous, but I'm not sure what else you do other than to just put some plants on the side there. But the shot down the hill, this is one place where using the retaining walls around is hurting you because you've hidden some of your view. Um, oh, I know. I'm not as worried about that. I mean, there's a problem here with the one right to the right. I've got a floating retaining wall, but those gaps are what they are. I mean, there's not a way to make those perfect, and that's fine. I get that. You do the best you can, and they show up, and you say, hey, that looks good. What I mean, though, is the technical stuff that I would be more interested in, bunkers like this. That's just not great. The playable area of those bunkers is very small because most of it is just a sand wall. That's not good. This bunker, not good. This one, not good. I mean, those are just not good bunkers. I don't have a way around it. They're not great. And just because I feel like being stupid right now, this is what I'm going to do. You ready for this? But still, that was a great looking tee shot. It looked fantastic. I'm just telling you that I think that I got to say his green shapes, the smoothness with the way the textures flow together are very good. He does a really good job with that. I just liked some of his earlier stuff better. This one's not my cup of tea, but that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be. And even if I were judging it, I would judge it based on what the course was, not my particular tastes. That's not how judging works. Trust me, if I were judging on tastes, my like in the major contest, my rankings would have been somewhat different. See, this is another one where a split fairway I'm struggling with because I can see how I guess you would have a slightly better angle from down here, but from the tee is on a hole this short, and I know it's 426 yards, but is the angle worth the risk? I don't know, because there's definitely no real width advantage. Here, I'm just going to hit this and we'll see where it ends up and if it's worth taking it on. Well, I expected the wind to move that a little more. Like even that bunker shape right there, I'm not keen on. I see that you used a couple particular brushes here. 3 brushes. This is a 3-brush bunker. Maybe more. But I think if you took out a circle brush, you could have gone... Yeah, I think the left fairway is a little wider. I just was looking at the camber, and I'm not quite sure. I don't know if the strategy plays quite the same way. This finger is one of the better fingers that you'll see on this course, though. And this is what I'm talking about. Go ahead and let it dip down into the bunker a little bit, and you can accomplish the look you want. You don't have to make it stand up straight. This bunker, I'm okay with the depth, but if you're going to do that, what you want to do is bring... See, he's gone around the outside of it and raised it up. Go ahead and bring the sand a little bit further out and let the sand itself go a little bit. Oh, Eric, are you testing or are you done with that course? Yeah, he's not in here. He's busy. I like the idea of this hole. It's fine. You can split the fairway that way, and I don't think it was necessary. I think it was an idea, and this is what I talk to guys about. Sometimes you have an idea and you want to put that idea into the course. So, you know, it may not turn out exact, but you leave it in there. And I'm guilty of it. I've done it. I've fallen in love with the idea of a hole, and I just didn't change it. Yeah, I'm guessing. See, this is a hole I think some people would think I'd have a problem with. I really don't. I will say, though, here is one where if you're going to use the retaining walls in this way, I do think it needs to be super clean. Super clean. And this is close. It's really close. Not quite there. So I think what you do is you've got to move the retaining wall out a little bit, or make the green slightly smaller, or just angle it a little differently. But this is really hard to do, especially look where he has the sun. I mean, the sun is just going to highlight everything. One way I found you can do this is to well, no, because he's got it going down in there. But no, this hole is a fine hole. I don't mind it. Awfully long for this kind of shot, but that's okay. It's definitely a challenging hole. I think this course, though, is going to be a lot of fun for people on the CC Pro. It's not a CCM, but I think on CC Pro, I think there'd be a lot of fun had on here. And I got to give you kudos for that. That's a hard. It's hard to make a course that's fun and still challenging. And I'll tell you, this is fun. I don't know that it's a course where I'm going to boot it up and be like, hey, I want to play this course by myself all the time. But in a group or a skins match or something like that, I think that's what this course lends itself to quite nicely. Yeah, the surround on that front tee on here is just entirely unnecessary. I'm not a fan of that. I mean, it just gives you this big drop-off. And I don't buy that. The retaining wall is very high, but you've done a lot of work on it. Where does this end up? So it ends up over there. So again, I don't understand. I guess with a big tailwind, that's not a problem. But I don't really understand the serpentine nature of this hole. Like, we've got hazards all over the place. And why would anybody play over here? Ever? I mean, you just limit yourself. You're way better off just taking this on. I don't understand that. How far down is that? If I'm missing something, you let me know. I don't know why you'd go right. I don't know. You do nothing but put yourself in more trouble going that way. It's a nifty hole. Like I said, it's made for playing against people. Word. You are late, but you are here. Wow, that sat down a little faster than I thought. My gosh, HB. I don't know. Again, I think it's a hole where you have an idea and you fall in love with that idea and you just rock with it. And again, it's a fantasy course. That's totally fine. Just from a golf architecture standpoint, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, from the overhead, I'm looking at this because I think from the overhead, this hole could look better from the tee than it does. I like it, but I think instead of flattening this out, maybe having some camber, some sloping would have improved this tee shot. Yeah, I still wouldn't do that because B101, because you've got trees in the way, you've got extra bunkers in the way. I don't know. I don't see any really good reason. How far uphill is that? 95 ought to be right. Oh, maybe not. Wow. I thought that would have carried right to the edge of the fairway. That's okay. I really like this approach shot. This is, if I had been up a little higher, it would be better, but I like this approach shot. This green, the angle of the green, I like. The water feature, I like. That bunker's all right. I like this second shot. I think the tee shot could have been a little better, but I like the second shot. Oh gosh. All right. Let's see how badly we can screw this up, shall we? Get up. Well, I thought the wind was going to help me. little more than it did. Greatest bunker player ever. Well, we made a mess of that. That's okay. Hey, Eleanor, what are you doing? Bring that here right now. Eleanor, no, give it to me. She has my wife's chapstick and is proceeding, to rub it all over her face. It's not sunscreen. Well, I think this hole is going to make me happy and sad. Because that is a wonderful tee shot, isn't it? I mean, just the visual here is really, really good. You know, we've got this surrounded by some stone up here. It's neither here nor there. But that's a really good looking. It's a really good looking tee shot. I dig it. But I don't understand the shaping over here. I mean, I get it's supposed to be harder, but I don't know. Whatever. You only live once. I think the fast swing is going to save my butt. Nope, it didn't. That's okay. That's fine. Like I said, everybody was going gaga goo goo, and that's why I wanted to wait. And I hope, Sindri, I hope you understand. That's why I wanted to wait. Because I wanted to not be... I tend to get contrarian, and I did not want to be the guy who comes in here and is just like, you guys are stupid. And they're not. It's a fun course. It's a good course. I think it's great. I think, like I said, it's going to be a very good course to have on a tour rotation. And it's going to make for a lot of fun skins and match play matches, is what I think. I think just as a straight up go out and play it everyday golf course, no, that's not one that I'm going to do a bunch of, but that's fine. I don't have to. It's going to lend itself to a different style of play. I will say I haven't had a lot of tempo issues. You know, I've been here and there a little bit, but it hasn't been bad. I just have played crappy, so that's fine. This is another good tee shot. The rock work here is better than it has been in some places. I like the tee boxes that you've used here, that you've kind of left them a little more expansive. They're nice. I like that. So this one is drivable, and it wasn't based on wind. And this may go too long, but we'll see. Nope, I pushed it. I pushed it. Yeah, no, this one's imminently drivable. Even into a headwind, I think if you did it right, you could get there. And it's a good place for a drivable par 4, right there at 16. I like the fact that you chose a hole further on in the golf course like that, there towards the end. Make things a little interesting. Other good places for that would be like on an 11th hole or something like that. Just after you make the turn, you know what I mean? You play that 10th, and then you're like, oh crap, I got to make a decision. How did I play that last hole? I don't know. Ah! Again, I'm going to say it. I feel like your use of the wood around the tee box here has limited. Although I dig the Y-shaped tee, that's a different choice. But I feel like you've limited the visual here when you didn't need to. Just a little. And it would have been cool to just have that expansive, crap and rock. 60, 48, 36. Yeah. Oh, slow. Yeah, it actually didn't hurt too bad. Didn't hurt as bad as I thought that slow was going to. I like your use of planting on that hole off to the right. That was well used. Good use of the bushes in that back there, not overplanting it. Yeah, this is a cool trick because believe it or not, this is doing the water here the way he's done it is a heck of a lot easier than doing ground. So that's a good use of retaining wall. I mean, it's a little goofy, but that's fine. It's supposed to be, you know, just a visual thing. But it's a lot easier to pull off that way. I feel like I would have liked this tee shot better had this bunker been, take the first finger off of this bunker and maybe angle this area up a little bit so that I can see a little more fairway. But I feel everything makes, I want to feel like this shot is wider than it looks. And instead it looks narrower than it actually is. I don't know why, but that's just what I'm feeling. And since it's my stream, I can tell you what I'm feeling. I feel used. All right, let's see. When is this going to come into play? Is this area ever going to be used visually? I'm just looking. Because this kind of scree is some of the coolest rock work you've done. And take note, see how he's left it pretty empty. That's a pretty cool thing to do. This green is wonky. Not in a bad way, it's just wonky. .168, 24 down, 6 miles an hour in my face. Wow, slow backswings are painful. Remember how I said my tempo was good? Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, that rocky scree area is really good. Go on out, Eleanor. The kids are getting impatient because after this I'm going to take them to the... I'd have to go look at it again. I looked at it for a second and I thought it was pretty good, but I don't know. As a finisher, that hole doesn't do a lot for me. I feel like the visual on the hole was good, but the hole itself just kind of fell flat as a finisher. That bunker was better in that it did stand those fingers up so high and cause it to fall into more of a bathtub feel. That one was better. I feel like the bottom of that bunker, some of those bunkers overall on the course, especially around the greens, I thought were a little deep. And what I mean by that, I like deep bunkers, but I felt like they would have looked... Hang on a second. Eleanor, get out of the bathroom, please. She'll go in there and put hand sanitizer on to the point where it's dripping off of her elbows, which is kind of gross. Anyway, I felt like if the bottoms of those bunkers had been brought up a little bit more, the sand would have been able to be shown off better. As it is, they almost fell into too much shadow, which one of the reasons to use bunkers is a dynamic contrast. And some of them, when the shadow hit them, the contrast was lost. And I think that would have helped out too. That course is going to get a lot of play, especially in multiple groups, like I said, and I think that'll be a fun one for skins matches in particular. I could see playing that one a lot. Anyway, that is Lake Sofia Golf Club by Sindre, and I like it. That'll be good. It's got a lot of plays already, and it's going to find its spot on tour big time. I am going to take my kids to the store and then to a couple of parks because I promised them, and they let me go play golf yesterday, so it's the least I can do is take them to the park. I want to try and do another one of these tonight if I can, because I got a couple more I got to get through. But if we don't, we don't. Hopefully both of those were somewhat constructive and helpful. If not, then feel free to send me a PM and call me a hunk of garbage, because I haven't had that yet today. So I need my garbage smack. Thanks much. See ya.